Okay, so in this problem we're trying to find the parallel line, the line that's parallel to this one that's passing through the point -6, -3. So the first step that we need is we need to find the slope. Now, what do we know about parallel lines? Well, we know that they have the same slope. So in this case, this line has a slope of -2/3, and usually we use the letter m. So m, which is the slope, is -2/3 because parallel lines have the same slope. So that was easy, right? Okay, now the second step is we need to find the y-intercept. Now there's a couple ways to do this, but I'm going to show you the same way that I showed you on the handout. So the first thing is you need to know the point slope form of a line. So that is that y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. And what these represent, the y1 and the x1, those are x and y values that are on your line. Now if you look back at your information, the only piece of information that you haven't used is this point that you're given. So this would be your x value, x1, and this would be your y value, y1. And that's a point on your line. So this is telling you, okay, when x is equal to -6, y is equal to -3. Now here you have to be really careful with your signs. So I'm going to put these in parentheses so that we don't get confused. And then the last thing is we need to simplify it. So if I write this out again, so I have y minus -3 is equal to m. Now m, notice we found it earlier. M is the slope that we have up here. So the slope is -2/3 times x minus -6. Okay, now here it's just a matter of making sure that you're careful with your... I'm going to go over here to the right actually. So let me just break this up. Make sure you're careful with your signs. So here we have y minus and minus, so that's going to be turned into a y plus 3. So it's going to be y plus 3 on the left is equal to -2/3 times x, and then again over here this is going to be minus and minus again is plus, so it's going to be x plus 6. So again, just be careful with your signs. Okay, now we're going to use the distributive property on the right side. So I'll distribute the -2/3, and so then I have y plus 3 is equal to -2/3 times x minus 2/3 times 6. Okay, and now I need to simplify. So the left side I'm just going to leave it alone for now. So y plus 3 equals to -2/3 x, and I want to simplify the 2/3 times 6, so you can either multiply straight across. Remember, you have to put a 1 under the 6, and then you multiply numerator times the numerator, denominator times the denominator, leaving you with 12/3, which is also the same as 4. So I can rewrite this as 4. So let's rewrite this again. So I have y plus 3 equals to -2/3 x plus 4. And then I have one last step, and that is that I need to move this -3 over to the right. So I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides to do that. And so then I end up with y is equal to -2/3 x plus 1. and that's the equation of the line parallel to this line passing through the point -6, -3. And this has a slope of -2/3, and then the y-intercept is y equals to 1, x equals to 0. So I hope that helps. So in this problem, we're trying to find the line that's perpendicular to this line and passing through the point 0, 5. The first step, just like in the previous problem, is we need to find the slope. Now, the slope for this problem, though, is slightly different because perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocal slopes. So, reciprocal. Now, what does opposite reciprocal slopes mean? Well, opposite is talking about the sign. It means that they have the opposite sign. And reciprocal means that you flip the fraction. Now, so in this example, what I have is that the slope of this line is -4. Now, to flip it, this doesn't look like a fraction, but it actually is. Because I can always, if I have a whole number, I can always put a 1 under it, like that. And so the opposite reciprocal of this number would be you flip it and then you change the sign. And so what does that mean? Well, that means that my slope is, if I flip it, I get 1/4, and it's going to change sign from negative to positive. So my slope is, the slope of my line, which is perpendicular to this line, is +1/4. Okay, and then the second step is the same exact thing as the previous problem. You need to find the y-intercept by plugging in your point and your slope into the slope-intercept form of a line. So remember, just like in the previous problem, let's write down the general equation. We have y minus y1 equals to m times x minus x1. Then we have the slope. The slope is +1/4. We have our x1, y1. So x1 here is 0. y1 here is 5. And so then if we put all that in, we would end up with y minus 5 is equal to 1/4. But notice this is 0, so this right here is not going to affect anything, so it's just 1/4 times x. And then the very last step is to simply add 5 to both sides. And that leaves us with the equation y equals to 1/4 x plus 5. And that's our equation. So here the slope is 1/4, the y-intercept is +5.